The stars stretched endlessly around the patrol ship, small pinpricks of light in the vast dark. Captain Jiho stood on the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the console. He did not need to adjust anything. The ship was steady, its engines quiet but powerful, ready if it needed to move fast. The aliens were out there somewhere, watching from a distance. Jiho knew they were curious. They always were. Humans were different, unpredictable, and that made them dangerous. Hana. The communications officer sat beside him, eyes scanning the incoming data. She had been trained to notice the smallest detail, every unusual signal or fluctuation. But right now, the ship was calm, almost too calm. She felt the quiet tension in the air, the same tension that had grown in countless alien fleets who had tried to understand human ships before. Humans did not fight the way others did. They did not rely only on technology or brute force. They relied on something harder to measure. Their minds, their choices, their patience. The ship looked ordinary from a distance. Its hull was not polished. Its weapons seemed minimal. Some alien commanders would call it underpowered, outdated, even primitive. Yet those who had faced humans before remembered the cost of underestimating them. In the Interstellar Council, reports had been shared about encounters where humans had tricked superior fleets. A scan could never tell the full story. The humans had learned that lesson long ago. Jiho adjusted the main view screen, showing the empty expanse ahead. He could feel the pressure without seeing it. The alien fleet was debating whether to scan his ship. Some wanted answers, to see if humans had grown weaker with time. Others were wary, recalling the stories of ships that had been lost after scans. Jiho did not panic. He trusted his crew, trusted the ship. Hana noticed a flicker on the radar. "Captain, there is a small movement ahead," she said. "Probably a scout." Jiho nodded. He had expected it. Alien fleets always sent scouts first, cautious and curious. The scout's sensors would try to read the ship, to understand it. But humans had learned how to hide their true strength. This was not the first time, and it would not be the last. In the ship's engineering section, Dayun, the chief engineer, checked the power systems. He adjusted a few minor circuits, creating subtle patterns that made the ship's readings confusing. To the aliens, the energy output looked uneven. Some weapons appeared offline, yet the ship was fully ready. "It always works," he muttered to a young trainee beside him, a girl named Minna who was eager to learn. "They think they can see everything, but they cannot read the choices humans make." Jiho walked to the side console, where maps of nearby star systems glowed softly. He knew the human way was not to strike first, but to prepare. The humans survived because they thought ahead, predicted patterns, and hid the truth until the right moment. He looked out at the blackness, imagining the alien eyes scanning, confused. They had long ago learned that humans did not fight on their terms. Humans fought on theirs. The alien scout moved closer, and the readings on Hana's screen began to fluctuate strangely. The ship's power signals appeared inconsistent, impossible to map correctly. One weapon system seemed inactive, while another appeared overloaded. The alien ship could not make sense of it. The Council had warned about this. They had warned that scanning humans could trigger unpredictable reactions, sometimes catastrophic. Hana leaned toward Jiho. "They're scanning, but the data is wrong. They can't understand it." Jiho smiled faintly. This was exactly as it should be. Humans were not the largest or the fastest in the galaxy, but their strength was in their unpredictability. Every alien fleet had underestimated them, every time they had suffered for it. Jiho's thoughts drifted to past encounters. Memories of earlier skirmishes came back. Ships that looked weak had hidden powerful systems. Crews who appeared untrained had moved with precision and instinct. Humans survived because they planned, but also because they embraced uncertainty. The aliens tried to reduce them to numbers, to scans, to predictable patterns. That had always been their mistake. Hannah adjusted the communications panel. She could feel the subtle changes in the signals. Captain, the scan is intensifying. They must want confirmation. Jiho shook his head. Let them think what they want. We do nothing. Patience is our weapon. He turned to the main screen, where the alien scout drifted uncertainly. It looked almost confused, unable to process what it was seeing. Humans had learned how to make their ships seem weak, only to reveal strength when necessary. The aliens would remember this moment, just as they always did. Below deck, Do-Yun guided Mina through the systems again. See these circuits? They are simple in design, but they confuse scanners. The humans know how to hide patterns within patterns. A scan shows one thing, but the reality is different. Always different. That is why we survive. Mina nodded, understanding the quiet brilliance of it. On the bridge, Hannah noticed a ripple of hesitation in the alien signals. They were pulling back, trying to decide if they should continue. Jiho remained calm. The humans did not need to show power yet. The aliens would leave, but the story would remain in their memory. The humans were strange, silent, patient. They did not follow the same rules. They created fear, not by loud weapons, but by quiet uncertainty. Minutes passed, then hours. The alien scout continued to hover, confused. Jiho finally spoke. They will not risk a full scan. They never do. Hannah smiled faintly, relieved. Every encounter reminded humans why they had survived so long. Every scan, every glance, every cautious approach reminded others that humans were not to be understood easily. As the alien scout withdrew, Jiho allowed himself a small sigh. He looked at Hannah and said quietly, "Another day, another lesson." Hannah nodded. They will tell their leaders. The council will remember again. Below deck, Do-Yun looked at the trainee Mina. This is why humans are dangerous. Not because we are the strongest, but because we are the hardest to predict. Mina smiled. Feeling the pride of being part of a legacy older than most in the galaxy. The patrol ship drifted silently among the stars. It had not fired a shot. It had not even moved significantly. And yet, it had reminded the galaxy why humans were respected, feared, and never fully understood. Jiho returned to the main console, watching the darkness. Humans thrived because they embraced uncertainty, because they chose their actions carefully, and because they trusted each other and their instincts. The stars stretched endlessly, and the humans remained a quiet, unpredictable presence in the galaxy. They did not need to announce themselves. They did not need to prove anything. Others would always notice them, always be cautious, and always remember that scanning a human warship was more dangerous than most imagined. The alien fleet regrouped in the empty black space near the trade route. Commander Lurin stared at the data on his screen, frowning. The human ship had vanished from the scout's sensors. It had not moved much, yet the readings were puzzling, inconsistent, and alarming. Lurin tapped the console several times, trying to understand what the humans had done. Every number contradicted the last. Their ship systems were unlike anything his species had seen before. Lurin called a meeting of his officers. A mixture of fear and confusion spread among them. "Our scans are unreliable," he said firmly. "Every reading seems contradictory. This should not happen. We know technology, yet humans make it unreadable." One young officer, curious and daring, spoke up. "Commander, perhaps we need a full scan. We cannot understand their ship unless we see everything." Lurin shook his head. "We have tried that before. The humans are not what they appear to be. Scanning may be dangerous. Our predecessors learned this, and we will not repeat their mistakes." Far from the aliens, the human ship continued quietly on patrol. Jiho observed the distant fleet without any sign of concern. He knew that patience was a weapon the humans had mastered long ago. Hana monitored communications and sensors, noting every subtle change in the alien behavior. Doyan was in engineering, making minor adjustments that hid the ship's true capabilities. Each system emitted signals that were unpredictable, confusing scanners, but harmless to the human crew. Mina followed Doyan closely, absorbing the lessons in human cunning. The story flashed back to older battles. Humans had survived because they learned from mistakes and adapted. They had built ships not just to fight, but to mislead. Weapons appeared inactive, shields seemed weak, and power systems were deliberately confusing. The aliens had underestimated humans in the past and paid dearly. Jiho remembered stories from veteran captains who had faced similar situations. They had always relied on instinct and timing rather than raw power. On the Alien Council's main screen, Lurin's advisors argued. Some wanted to press further, convinced they could overcome human deception with more technology. Others warned against it, recalling fleets destroyed or crippled simply by attempting to understand humans too closely. One scientist, older and cautious, stated softly, "The humans do not act as we expect. They hide in plain sight. They react to scans in ways we cannot predict. We must proceed carefully, or not at all." Back on the human ship, Jiho watched the signals with calm eyes. He had taught his crew that the strength of their ship was not just in hardware, but in the quiet mastery of patience. Human ships had survived countless encounters because they could wait and observe. They did not reveal their intentions, and they did not make unnecessary moves. This unnerved other species. Aliens preferred certainty, predictable outcomes, and clear data. Humans offered none of these. Hana noted a new signal fluctuation. "Captain, the aliens are debating again. Their scout cannot read us, and the main fleet hesitates." Jiho nodded. "Good. Let them doubt themselves. That is all we need." Dayan continued explaining to Mina. "You see, Mina, humans are clever because we combine simplicity with unpredictability. Every system here seems ordinary, but it reacts in many ways. A scanner cannot account for choice, instinct, or intuition. Humans think differently. That is why we survive." Mina nodded, her eyes wide with fascination. Lurin turned back to his data, trying to find patterns. The humans had designed their ship's energy flows to contradict each other, creating illusions. Some weapon systems seemed powered down, while others appeared overloaded. The ship was quiet, almost passive, but it could react instantly if needed. Lurin realized the humans had turned patience and confusion into tools of war. He had seen fleets destroyed because they underestimated this strategy. "Commander," said one officer hesitantly, "should we attempt to communicate? Perhaps they will respond and give us reason to scan." Lurin considered this. Humans did communicate sometimes, but on their terms. A calm message from the human crew could be friendly or warning, and it would force aliens to consider every possible meaning. Meanwhile, Hana prepared a standard communication signal. She sent it calmly, without threat, without provocation. "This is the human patrol vessel. We acknowledge your presence. We ask only that you respect space and caution. No scan is needed." The message was simple, polite, but it carried a subtle power. Humans did not need to strike. Their reputation and quiet confidence often achieved more than weapons ever could. The alien fleet hesitated. Lurin observed the message and felt the weight of human history. Every encounter had been a lesson. Aliens who tried to read humans too closely often faced disasters. The message carried no threat, yet it reminded them of the unpredictability they had witnessed before. Some officers urged scanning anyway, but Lurin shook his head. "No, we cannot risk misinterpretation. The humans are not just a ship. They are a problem we cannot calculate." On the human ship, Jiho and Hannah exchanged quiet looks. "They will withdraw soon," Jiho said. Hannah nodded. The humans did not need to act, and they had not fired a shot. The aliens would learn another lesson today. Humans were not measured by technology alone, but by the decisions, discipline, and resolve behind it. Below deck, Doyan smiled at Mina. "Remember, young one, strength is not always visible. Humans survive because they understand the value of patience, observation, and subtlety. A warship does not need to shout to be feared." The aliens debated, but every moment of hesitation was a victory for the humans. The scout remained uncertain. The main fleet paused, and no scans were attempted. Humans thrived not because they were invincible, but because they were impossible to read. Each system, each choice, each silence was a hidden strength. Time passed. The aliens eventually began to retreat, moving cautiously back toward the trade route. Lurin knew that his fleet had avoided a potentially dangerous mistake. The human ship had not acted, yet it had dominated the encounter simply through presence, patience, and subtle design. The Council would record this experience, as they always did, but the lesson was clear. Humans were to be observed, not scanned. On the patrol ship, Jiho allowed himself a small smile. Hannah looked at him and nodded. The humans had once again survived, and taught the galaxy a lesson without firing a shot. Mina, watching the crew work quietly, understood the power of subtlety and calm. Every human crew member played a role in the legacy of unpredictability and strength. The stars remained quiet around them, and the humans continued their watch, calm and patient. They did not need recognition or acknowledgement. Other species would remember the encounter and adjust their behavior. Humans had not just survived, they had reinforced their reputation. Aliens would think twice before scanning another human warship, and that was exactly what the humans intended. The alien scout hovered in the black space near the human ship, attempting again to make sense of the readings. The sensors flickered and wavered, unable to interpret the energy patterns from the human vessel. Commander Lurin watched from the command bridge of his main ship, his claws tapping nervously on the control panel. Every second spent scanning seemed to deepen the confusion. He had faced humans before, but the new generation of human ships was smarter, more deceptive, and more patient. Jiho stood on the bridge of the human ship, watching the alien scout drift aimlessly. He did not feel fear, only quiet confidence. Hannah observed the sensors with calm eyes, noting every subtle change in the alien fleet's behavior. The humans did not need to fire a shot to influence the aliens. Their silence and stillness did all the work. Dayon adjusted a few minor energy conduits below deck, making the ship's power signature appear uneven and chaotic. Mina watched, fascinated by the way humans could create confusion without danger. The alien fleet struggled to interpret what they were seeing. One system appeared overloaded, another inactive. Energy readings contradicted each other. Some weapons looked functional, others broken. The scout's sensors could not reconcile the information. Lurin frowned. It should be simple. Every ship should follow patterns. Humans do not. A junior officer spoke hesitantly. "Commander, maybe we can force the ship to respond. Send a signal that will reveal its systems." Lurin shook his head. "No, that would be a mistake. Humans have survived by not revealing themselves. They will respond on their terms, and their response could make a trap real." On the human ship, Hannah's fingers moved over the communication panel. "Captain, the scout is trying again. They are probing, sending pulses, reading every channel." Jiho nodded. Let them see the chaos. That is enough." Dayan explained to Mina again, emphasizing patience and subtlety. "Humans are clever because we think ahead. Our ship seems ordinary, but it behaves in many ways that cannot be predicted. Sensors and scans cannot read instinct or decision-making. That is the human advantage. Mina nodded, understanding that what appeared simple was actually carefully designed. The alien scout sent another wave of signals, attempting to force clarity. The readings became more contradictory. Some energy readings appeared impossible, as if the ship had multiple overlapping systems. Lurin realized that the humans had designed the vessel to confuse even the most advanced scanners. Every alien who had faced humans before had underestimated this tactic. Many had paid the price. Hana sent another calm communication, a simple statement of recognition. We observe your presence. No scans are needed. Your caution is noted. The message was neutral, polite, but carried an unspoken weight. Humans did not need threats to exert influence. Their history and reputation were weapons on their own. The alien fleet hesitated. Officers debated. One suggested retreating entirely. Another argued for continuing scans. Lurin intervened. Scanning will not give clarity. The humans are unpredictable. Their ship may respond in ways we cannot calculate. We will withdraw until we can understand without direct probing. Jiho and Hana watched silently as the aliens hesitated. Dayun below deck made final adjustments to the systems, ensuring that all readings remained inconsistent but stable. Mina realized that humans survived through understanding the value of subtlety, observation, and control. They did not need to strike to dominate. The alien fleet finally began to move back, reluctantly accepting that the human ship could not be scanned safely. Lurin ordered the retreat, understanding that his fleet would remember this encounter. Humans had demonstrated strength without force, control without movement, and patience without action. That was their power. Jiho allowed himself a quiet smile. Another lesson for them. Hana nodded, understanding that humans had once again survived and taught the galaxy a lesson without firing a shot. Below deck, Doyun looked at Mina. Remember this. Strength is not always visible. Humans survive because we know how to use calm and patience as weapons. The patrol ship drifted silently among the stars. The humans had not fired a weapon. They had not taken aggressive action. Yet they had dominated the encounter, reminded the aliens of human unpredictability, and reinforced their reputation. Jiho watched the stars, confident in the quiet mastery of patience. Humans had survived again, not because of brute force, but because of subtle strategy and calm calculation. The alien fleet moved away, leaving the human ship in the silent void of space. Jiho knew that other fleets would take note, that alien commanders would recall this encounter in future strategies. Humans had not just survived, they had strengthened the legend of unpredictability that protected them. Hana monitored the sensors, satisfied that the aliens were gone. Mina watched quietly, learning the value of invisible power, the power of restraint, and the mastery of subtlety. The stars stretched endlessly around them. The humans remained patient, calm, and ready. They did not need to announce themselves. Their reputation alone commanded respect. Aliens would always remember that scanning a human warship was dangerous, not because of the weapons it carried, but because of the intelligence, restraint, and unpredictable choices behind it. The alien fleet remained in the dark expanse, still trying to understand the humans. Commander Lurin observed his officers, noting their unease. Every scan they attempted returned confusing and contradictory data. No analysis seemed accurate. Humans were a puzzle that refused to be solved, a mystery wrapped in calm patience. Lurin knew that scanning a human warship had always been dangerous. This experience reinforced that lesson more clearly than ever. On the human ship, Captain Jiho stood quietly on the bridge, observing the alien fleet without any sign of concern. Hana, as always, monitored all incoming signals, her eyes moving carefully over the fluctuating readings. The human ship was quiet, seemingly passive, yet every system was ready to act if necessary. Doyan, in engineering, adjusted circuits subtly, creating minor shifts in energy output that further confused alien scanners. Mina watched, absorbing the lesson of subtlety and patience. The humans did not need to act loudly or aggressively. Their mere presence, combined with careful design and control, conveyed strength. The alien fleet debated. Lurin's advisors were divided. One officer argued that humans could be intimidated with a show of force, while another warned that previous experiences had shown humans reacted unpredictably to pressure. Lurin listened carefully. Humans do not respond like other species, he said. They are patient. They observe. They strike only when necessary. Our technology cannot fully read them. The fleet's sensors continued to record impossible readings. Systems appeared broken, inactive, or overloaded. Every attempt to understand the human ship only increased confusion. Lurin realized the humans had designed their ship to conceal true capabilities. Every signal, every reading, every action was part of a larger strategy of subtle deception. The aliens were frustrated because humans did not play by predictable rules. Meanwhile, Hannah sent a calm communication to the alien fleet. We observe your caution. No scan is needed. Please maintain your distance and respect the boundaries of space. The message carried no threat. It was polite, clear, and unambiguous. Yet the aliens felt its weight. Humans did not need to attack to influence the situation. They had mastered the art of quiet power. Jiho reflected on humanity's reputation. Humans survived not because of the strongest weapons or largest ships, but because they were the hardest to predict. Aliens had underestimated them before, and each mistake had cost them dearly. Humans understood the value of patience, observation, and strategic silence. They did not act recklessly. They acted with careful calculation, often waiting for the perfect moment to strike or retreat. Doyen continued explaining the ship's systems to Mina. Humans design chaos within order. He said, the ship seems ordinary, yet it behaves in ways that cannot be measured by scanners. Energy flows, weapons, and shields all interact in unexpected ways. That is the human advantage. Mina nodded, beginning to understand the hidden strength in subtlety. Lurin noticed that his officers were growing uneasy. Commander, one said, the humans are sending messages, but they do not threaten us. Yet we feel a weight in their call. Why is this? Lurin responded, because humans do not need to threaten. Their history, patience, and unpredictability are weapons themselves. They make us cautious because we cannot fully understand them. The aliens debated withdrawal. Some argued that a show of force might compel humans to reveal themselves. Lurin shook his head. No, we cannot risk it. Humans have survived by understanding the value of restraint. If we push, we may trigger consequences we cannot predict. Below deck, Doyan looked at Mina. Observe carefully. Humans survive because we master restraint, patience, and the quiet use of power. A ship does not need to fire a weapon to be feared. Sometimes inaction is more powerful than action. Mina absorbed the lesson silently, realizing that the human's greatest strength was not in weapons or speed, but in control and unpredictability. Hana noted a final fluctuation in the alien signals. The fleet was beginning to retreat, cautious and uncertain. Jiho allowed himself a small smile. The humans had not fired a shot. They had not revealed true strength, yet they had dominated the encounter, reinforced their reputation, and reminded the aliens why scanning a human warship was always dangerous. As the alien fleet withdrew, Lurin made a mental note. Humans were to be observed, not probed. Their ships were a combination of simplicity and chaos, patience and unpredictability. They could survive encounters without engaging, influence alien fleets without speaking, and maintain control through subtlety. This lesson had been repeated countless times across the galaxy, yet it never lost its impact. The human ship drifted silently among the stars, calm and patient. Jiho, Hana, Doyan, and Minna worked quietly, fully aware of their strength. They did not need to announce it. Aliens would always notice, always hesitate, and always respect the quiet power of humans. Every encounter reinforced the lesson. Scanning a human warship was not just unnecessary, it was dangerous. The stars stretched endlessly around them, and the humans remained a quiet, unpredictable presence. Their ships did not need to fire to be respected. The galaxy would remember this encounter, and the legend of human unpredictability would continue to grow. Humans had survived, taught a lesson, and maintained their position, all without conflict. Their patience, strategy, and subtle power ensured that they would always be a force to consider, a presence impossible to fully understand. The alien fleet had withdrawn, moving cautiously through the dark space lanes. Commander Lurin observed the retreating ships, noting their hesitation and confusion. Every scan had failed. Every analysis returned impossible data. The humans had not acted aggressively, yet their presence had left a lasting impression. Lurin knew the Council would record this encounter carefully. Human ships were to be judged by behavior, not scans, for their unpredictability and patience were a weapon all on their own. On the human patrol ship, Captain Jiho allowed himself a moment of quiet relief. Hana monitored the systems and communications, ensuring the aliens were gone from the area. Doyan, in engineering, smiled as he observed the subtle effects of their systems on alien scanners. Minna, watching closely, understood the quiet mastery of restraint and unpredictability that humans had perfected over generations. Jiho thought about humanity's place in the galaxy. Humans were not the largest or strongest species, nor did they possess the most advanced technology. Their greatest strength lay in unpredictability, patience, and the ability to adapt. Aliens feared scanning human warships, not because they were physically dangerous, but because humans operated on logic and instinct that could not be measured. The same ship might appear weak in one encounter, yet reveal hidden power in another, all based on human choices, timing, and strategy. Hana sent a final message to the alien fleet. "We observe your withdrawal. Safe travels." The message carried no arrogance or threat, only calm acknowledgement. Yet the aliens felt the weight of human experience, the quiet power the humans wielded without raising weapons. Jiho knew that their calm, patient response would be remembered in alien fleets for years to come. Doyan turned to Minna and explained the final lesson. Humans survive because they understand the value of patience, observation, and subtlety. A ship does not need to fight to be respected. A ship does not need to fire to command attention. Our strength lies in our choices, our timing, and our ability to remain calm under pressure. Minna absorbed the wisdom, understanding that true power was often invisible and silent dot in the alien fleet. Commander Lurin made a note in the official records. Humans could not be scanned safely. Their ships were built with overlapping systems, contradictory energy flows, and subtle patterns that made technology unreliable. Their decisions could not be predicted, and their patience could turn apparent weakness into decisive advantage. Lurin understood that every fleet would remember this lesson. Humans were dangerous, not because of force alone, but because of unpredictability and quiet mastery. On the human ship, Jiho watched the stars, reflecting on the encounter. Humans had survived again, without firing a shot, without revealing true strength, and without provocation. The alien fleet had left, but the humans had reinforced their reputation. They were to be observed, not probed, respected, not feared, and underestimated at one's own risk. Hana smiled faintly. They will tell their leaders. The Council will record it. Humans have taught the galaxy another lesson without action. Jiho nodded, knowing that each encounter strengthened humanity's place. The humans' greatest weapon was not visible. It was choice, patience, and the refusal to act until necessary. That made them unpredictable and respected. Doyun looked at Mina, proud of the lesson imparted. Remember this always. Humans survive because they plan, observe, and act with calm control. Unpredictability is our strength. Quiet patience can achieve more than firepower ever could. Mina nodded, taking in the depth of human strategy and legacy. The patrol ship drifted silently among the stars, calm, ready, and patient. Jiho knew that humans would continue to survive, adapt, and teach lessons to others without aggression. Their presence alone was enough to influence alien behavior. The galaxy had learned again that scanning a human warship was more dangerous than most imagined. Humans commanded respect not by force, but by intelligence, restraint, and subtle mastery. The stars stretched endlessly around them, silent witnesses to the quiet power of humans. Captain Jiho, Hana, Doyan, and Mina continued their watch, understanding that their calm patience, strategic choices, and unpredictable nature were what truly made humanity strong. The alien fleets would remember this day, and the human legacy of resilience, intelligence, and quiet dominance would continue to grow across the galaxy.